Following this election, we will conduct a standard comprehensive review so we can prepare and introduce improvements for the 2024 presidential election in November.
And some of those improvements is not hiring any Republicans to participate in the actual election. It is Fulton County Republican Party suing Nadine Williams. Only 9 of these 45 qualified workers have been hired to work in the upcoming election, and they have no idea of whether Nadine intends to issue an order of appointment at all. We want a mandamus, and we want a hearing. The RNC sues Fulton County. We spent a lot of time in Fulton County talking about Big Fani Willis, and we've seen what they've done not only in the Trump prosecution, but in the YSL case. It's a disaster everywhere you look. The election machines were questionable, according to Judge Amy Totenberg. We've had a lot of rules debates about hand counting ballots and more, and so on and so forth. But now the RNC is suing the elections director, and that elections director is this woman. Her name is Nadine Williams, the director of registration and elections. She just got confirmed over there in 2023, officially named to the role. We've seen her participate in some other elections recently. This is what she looks and sounds like.
Commitment and service.
And this is in the last election.
Manager, our board of commissioners,
4 months
and our
ago.
Board of registration elections for their dedicated efforts. Following this election, we will conduct a standard comprehensive review so we can prepare and introduce improvements for the 2024 presidential election in November.
So good improvements.
We'll take any questions at this time.
All right, so improvements are coming, and some of those improvements, when she was just talking about this the last election, is not hiring any Republicans to participate in the actual election. All right, so what the Gateway pundit was reporting is that the RNC and the GOP are now suing her. She runs elections there for Fulton County. Now, the problem is that they were supposed to hire a bunch of people to participate in the election, to, run the election, and she's just hired 15 Republicans out of 804 total people. Oh, man. And we've talked about this, right? They're infrastructure, structural, institutional rigging that happened. Don't necessarily have to change the law or have evidence of, rigged code in the machines. But if you have, like 785 Democrats and 15 Republicans working on the election, you're pretty sure that it's going to be biased towards the Democrats, right? So the lawsuit has been filed. But before we get into this, let's talk about our testosterone. Most guys think that their testosterone is being drained by aging, bad genetics, or maybe even a lack of exercise. But what if I told you that that is not the case? In fact, what if I told you the real culprit is something you're likely eating every day? And the shocking part, it's something you've always been told is healthy. This one food has been scientifically shown to devastate testosterone levels, and most men have no idea. It's not junk food. It's not sugar. It's something way more unexpected. And just eating it a few times a week is enough to wreck your testosterone, drain your energy, and crush your motivation. But here's the good news. Cutting this one thing out of your diet could completely transform the way you feel. Our friends at V-Shred have seen it firsthand with their clients. And guys who stopped eating this food are building muscle, they're burning fat, and feeling more energized than they have in years. It's amazing how quickly things can change once you know what to avoid. And V-Shred, the team behind cutting-edge fitness and nutrition strategies, has created a video that reveals exactly what this testosterone-killing food is and why removing it from your diet could be the key to unlocking your body's true potential. So if you want to know what this food is, head over to sculptnation.com/Robert. Again, sculptnation.com/Robert. Watch the video that you see here, or just click the link in the description below. V-Shred's experts break it all down, and this one simple change could make all the difference. Trust me, this is one video that you're not going to want to miss. It is Fulton County Republican Party suing Nadine Williams. She promised us she was going to do a great job, get a bunch of people employed and run these elections well. It's in Fulton County, state of Georgia. It's an emergency application for a writ of mandamus. So a mandamus being an order, mandate, or the court tells somebody to do something. So here's what the lawsuit says. It says, all right, look, this court has jurisdiction over these claims. Venue's proper in this specific court because Fulton County is here. It's in Fulton County, so we're filing in the right court. We've got the Republican Party, known as the Fulton GOP, filing, Georgia Republican Party filing, RNC's filing, and the defendant is Nadine Williams, who just took this job. So here's the background, what they're filing for. They say, now, to promote confidence in the fairness and integrity of the elections, the state of Georgia Georgia requires election officials to actually hire poll workers from the list submitted by different political parties, right? Fairness and integrity. Okay, you get a bunch of money to go hire poll workers. You don't get to go hire a bunch of, blue-haired, multiple pronoun people and call it a day, because they're going to be working the polls. So instead, both parties submit lists. Here's the people we want you to hire from. Here's the people we want you to hire from the Democrats. Now, under the law, political parties have the right to submit to the superintendent of elections, quote, a list of qualified persons to work in the polling places. Here's what Georgia law says. All elections and primaries shall, mandatory, not may, be conducted in each polling place by a board consisting of a chief manager who shall be a chairperson of such board, and 2 managers. The managers of each polling place shall be appointed. If the political parties involved elect to do so, they may, submit to the superintendent a list of qualified persons. Now, when those lists are submitted, the superintendent shall, insofar as practicable, make appointments so that there be equal representation on such boards for the political parties involved in the elections or the primaries. All right, so if you're a political party, you don't have to submit a list of people to hire from to be poll workers. But if you do, then they should make sure it's fair. Now, the Georgia legislature has also provided qualifications for a Georgia resident to become a poll worker. If you want to be a poll worker, you got to meet these qualifications. Judicious, you got to be intelligent, you got to be an upright citizen, you got to be a resident, 16 years of age, read, write, speak English, which is hilarious that there's a typo on that. You got to be able to read but apparently you don't need to be able to type, right, or something. No poll officer shall be eligible for any nomination for a public office where they're serving, right? You can't poll work your own election. Now, pursuant to the statute, and with the assistance of the RNC, the Georgia Republicans, and the Fulton GOP, guess what? They submitted a list of qualified poll workers to Nadine. And with the assistance of the RNC and the Georgia Republicans and the Fulton Republicans, so national, state, local, county, 74 names to Nadine in multiple submissions on 3 different dates: July 15th, August 13th, and September 5th. Nadine. Now, based upon its information or belief, Fulton, the county GOP, does not believe that any other political party has submitted a list of qualified workers to Williams. Did the Democrats? Wow, guess not. And based upon information and belief, the vast majority of qualified poll workers listed in Fulton GOP's lists applied to work as a poll worker as is required by her. Okay, so we submitted a list to you and you got their applications independently based on your requirements. So now, as of the date of this application for a writ of mandamus, the RNC, the Georgia Republicans, and the Fulton Republicans believe that a total of 45 individuals on their lists have applied with Nadine to work during early voting. However, only 9 of these 45 qualified workers have been hired to work in the upcoming election. A large percentage of those 45 qualified workers have never even been contacted, and they have no idea of whether Nadine intends to issue an order of appointment at all. Now, as of the date of this filing, this application, and this writ of mandamus, Fulton GOP believe that a total of 62 individuals on their list have applied with Nadine to work on election day, so early voting and election day. However, she's only hired 6 of these 62 qualified workers. A large percentage of these 62 qualified workers have never been contacted by her, and again, have no idea if she's going to appoint them. Now, we've also found that Nadine has found that 12 of the 62 individuals that are willing to work on election day are qualified to work the elections. However, she said, okay, you are qualified, you can work. However, rather than issue an appointment, she has put these qualified poll workers, quote, on reserve. Right? We'll let you know if we need you. We have some more blue-haired multi-pronoun folks that we need to have govern this, but we're covered. Williams has ostensibly placed the GOP list of qualified workers at the back of the line. That's right. Now, based upon information, they say, it's our belief that she has retained Dover Staffing, Inc. They say, we've got a bunch of people who are ready to work for you. She went and hired a staffing company, and they're going to go hire 540 individuals to work the November 5th election. Now, they also understand that she's retained Abacus Corporation, another company, to hire 264 individuals. Now, we've looked at the contracts. All of the Republican parties have looked at the contracts that Nadine Williams has entered into with Dover Staffing and Abacus, and we have found nothing in the agreements that notify the staffing agency that they need to give priority to the list of names that we've given to Williams. Now, we also believe, based on our research, that she's hiring over 804 individuals to work on the election. This number far exceeds the number of qualified poll workers submitted to Fulton GOP and other political parties. And so, based on our belief, we believe that Williams is allowing poll managers to select their own teams for individual polls rather than giving priority to a list of qualified poll workers that have already been submitted pursuant to Georgia law, because she wants to build her own little democratic agencies. Now, based upon information and our belief, Williams has shifted her responsibility for actually appointing the poll workers to temporary agencies and to poll managers. She's transferred her responsibilities to make appointments of poll workers who are working on advance voting. Some temporary agency is now doing this, and the temporary agency is not following the rules, instead giving preference to those workers who have prior experience with them. Now, based on this, at the time they submitted the list of qualified poll workers, there were more than sufficient open positions that these individuals could have filled. So she went out and got other people, but we could have filled them with our people. And because there were more open positions than qualified workers named by all political parties, she had no practicable limitations to appointing every person we gave her. You need 800 people? We gave you like 150 or whatever the numbers were. So appoint every single one of them before you go get other people to fill the ranks. So they say, all right, couple things. Here's a failure to follow state law. So there should be a mandamus. The court should make you do this. All official duties should be faithfully performed. We have no remedy other than you making her do this. We followed the law. The Republicans in Georgia actually followed the law. And we gave Fulton County and Williams a list of qualified poll workers, but she failed to appoint anyone on the list. And she gave us no reason as to why she's not going to do it. She refused to follow Georgia process and Georgia law, and time is of the essence. And so therefore, we want a mandamus and we want a hearing. We want you to require Fulton County and Nadine to immediately issue the appointments of our GOP poll workers. And if not, explain why. We also want attorney's fees signed by Alex Kaufman in Georgia. Shout out to Alex Kaufman at Chalmers, Adams, Baker, and Kaufman, LLC in Alpharetta, Georgia. Good to see another filing here from the Republicans. And we've talked about this, right? It's just institutional, it's infrastructure incompetence. Oh no, we're working really hard to hire people and we've got this. They're outsourcing the hiring, right? So that they don't have to appoint Republicans. They'll let some third party take care of it and then they don't have to claim responsibility for it. Well, what was their process for hiring people? I don't know. That's their work product. That's a private business. We can't open up, right, and go get public records about who they hired, where they came from, who these people are, or whatever. So nice to see the Republicans filing, and we'll see where this goes in Georgia. But Nadine, I'm sure, is not going to race to get this stuff rectified and get the appropriate people hired.